I suspect this episode will be for a very niche group of people. Most people watching this video will know of the band and their history, but if not, Superheist is an Aussie band that were formed in the 90s and released a string of albums. They were touted as Australia's nu metal act by many. Regardless of titles to genres, this heavy band has a very interesting history. For example, let me play one of their songs from the first demo. Sounds pretty good, right? In fact, it sounds a lot like early Slipknot. They both got that nu metal vibe going with similar levels of production. The aggression that makes up the genre is there, of course, and that brutal heaviness. Would it surprise you if I said Superheist demo came out 5 years earlier than Slipknot's? I hope so. I am Chilli from Live Listen Erased, and this episode of 5 Minute Reviews is going to be on Superheist's newest album, MMXX or 2020. Now, Superheist is a band that has changed throughout its band's history, even in the 90s adding that industrial drone sound with the addition of keys on their 1997 album and a few other albums after that. It's a very prevalent sound and can be considered a bit of a signature to the band, but history has not been kind to its sound and it hasn't really aged well in my mind. After the early 2000s, the band split up for a few years before reforming with new singer Ezekiel Ox in 2016 and released one album together before parting ways, and now a long-time member D.W. Norton has taken over on vocal duties. The latest album, titled 2020 in Roman numerals, is their 5th album and is out now on all platforms, unlike most of their earlier stuff, but I might address that a bit later on in the review. The album is called such because it was recorded around this time. Once again, the band have created an interesting album here and undergone yet another evolution that would give even Pokemon fans a reason to be envious. The changes to their style are definitely keeping old fans on their toes. The band's newest style is more akin to the new metalcore sound from Architects or Bring Me the Horizon, but still retaining a sense of their roots and not just creating carbon copies of these bands. Instead, they are borrowing elements of these new genres and adding it into their old school metal sound. And whoever said an old dog can't learn new tricks didn't listen to this album, which in my channel's case has to be at least 7 people. There are some great tracks on offer here, from the brutally rhythmic opening song Last Chance to Leave, the catchy lead single Destination Unknown with its encroachingly savage drum beats, and I have also done a reaction video to that one, seizure warning on there, and of course the soul-crushingly heavy riffs on the closer track Oblivion, which is an aptly titled song. Even the track Every Waking Moment, which is a much lighter song than everything else on this album, is another fantastic tune. Amongst the songs, there are just a few that just leave me puzzled. Songs like The Great Divide have an interesting vibe, but feel disjointed when they stop the song to throw some DJ scratch sounds throughout. And A History of Violence is another heavy track when it gets down to it, but its tempo change when the verse hits brings in some trip-hop beats, and this is just perplexing to me. And I feel like the keyboards were underused in some of the softer sections on that track. Many other tracks are certainly decent additions to the mix, like The Crow, Mayhem, Live For This, and Disintegration, which would be cool to see in live settings, and I would be keen to see that. Overall, I would give this album 1.5 million chilies on the spicy scale, with the best tracks being Last Chance to Leave, Destination Unknown, and Oblivion. After putting this review off for so long, I am glad that I went back to hear this album, and if you haven't heard the band, then I would say to check them out. They're very interesting, and their sound is very curious. Here's to you, Superheist. Thank you very much for tuning in to this 5-minute review on Superheist's new album. Make sure you do all the socials, click all the likes, and do all that jazz, and everyone out there, have a great day and stay spicy. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Live Listen Erased. And if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it with all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our Chilli Con Carnage Crew so you can get notified for all the future videos that we put out, as we put out videos every Friday. Also, we are on Discord, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter over at Live Listen Erased, so make sure to tune in over there. And don't forget to like this video so that our manager can stay very happy.